Hi there. So today we're going to talk about a couple of cool things that Google can do for you. We're going to start off in our Google Drive, and today we're going to look at Google Slides. So we're going to add some features onto Google Slides that hopefully you guys don't know, and see if we can make some things that you really like. So I'm in my Drive, and then I'm going to come over to where it says New. I'm going to select my Google Slides, and I'm going to ask it to create a blank presentation for me. So we open up into the same title page that every Google slide always opens up in. And today, the words that we're going to be looking at, we're going to be looking at these sections right here. So we're going to talk about background, layout, theme, and transitions. So we're going to do maybe a couple things with those that you haven't seen before in these categories. So if you think you know what they do, stick around and let's see if we do some new stuff. First, I'm going to start with the layout. This is not the layout that I want. And sometimes when you're doing things, you'll notice that these little boxes get grayed in and it's hard to get rid of them when you're typing something. So what I need to do to get rid of those is I'm going to come to this drop down arrow right here. And when I click on it, it shows me all the possible layouts that I can have for this page. And today I want to select a blank page. So all of my text boxes, everything that's in there is gone, and I have a new blank slate to start with. So if you're going to work on a Google slide, the first thing that you need to do, if you want to create something that you're going to print or something that you're going to use, you need to change the size of the paper. This is a very small paper in Google Slide, and when you print it, it comes out kind of strange unless you come over here into File. We're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Page Setup. In Page Setup, you see another drop-down menu. Everything that's cool in Google lives in these drop-down menus. Click the drop-down menu, and we're going to come down to Custom. Now, in Custom, a regular size paper is 11 by 8.5 if it's in the landscape view, or if you want it to be portrait, where it's going to be, teacher talk is hot dog or hamburger. If you want it to go in the hot dog shape of portrait, you would say 8.5 by 11. Today, I'd like to do mine in landscape or hamburger. So I'm going to put in 11 by 8.5. And that's going to adjust the size of my paper. So now anything that I've created here that I want to print out, and that just does not look right to me. Let's check that. Oh, yeah, 11 by 8.5, apply. Okay. Anything that I want to print out or do is going to print out in the landscape view. And you can see that I have landscape. Watch if I go into page setup and I change this to 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 11, you'll see that traditional piece of paper pop up. And now you can see the size and direction of your paper has changed. And if I want to go back to the other one, I can just push undo and right back there I go. So I've got my piece of paper. It's a decent sized piece of paper. If I print it, it's not going to come out weird. Everything's good here. So basically that's everything we want to do with layout and file page setup. Now we get into the fun stuff. If we go into background, there's a couple of things here. Usually what you're going to do here is change the color of your background or choose an image. So today, maybe just a little bit more on the change the color. Let's go in and pick a color today. But instead of choosing one of these colors right here, I'm going to go to gradient because there's this cool gradient button. Let's push it. And I'm going to choose a color here. I have the option to just have this color be on a single page, or if I select here, it will add this to every single page of my theme that I create. So let's go ahead and start building a theme. We're going to add that to the theme. And now, if I want to go through this, I can add additional colors to this. So if I go, I forgot to tell you what I did. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to select a color again, but now I'm going to come into where it says custom, and it brings up this cool custom gradient menu. What I can do in here is some pretty cool things. So right now it's set on radial. If I change this to linear, you'll see that the lines are going to go this way, and it creates kind of a cool ombre. If I switch to radial, it's going to be kind of like a glowing sun image. I can change that this focal point. I can change that to go to the top left, to the top right, and I can move that all around using these tools. But here's where it gets tricky. If I want to add a second color in, I come to add, choose the color that I want, and I can start adding in more colors into what I'm creating here. If I want to add a third color, come on in. And what do I got? A blue, a yellow? I don't know. Let's put purple in there. Okay, I can add as many colors into this as I want and adjust what I have going on. So I've made a pretty fun rainbow. I also have the option to change where each one of these lines go by adjusting these buttons right here. There we go. And if I change this back to linear now, you'll see I have that linear function. I can change the degree of the angles and change that around, or I can go back to my radial there. And remember, I can change my focal point by using these here. So you have some really cool things that you can do there. When I'm all done, oh, if I want to remove a color, I would just come here and I can select which one of the colors I want to remove. Or I can add, I think that was that yellow. Took out the yellow. There we go. Okay, so we've got that part all done. We say okay. So now I have the option. This is going to go to my whole entire background of my theme, add to my theme, and say yes. So when I come up here to where I'm going to add a slide, when I select on this now, all of my possible choices have that same background in it. So I'm going to add a couple more blank, and I can keep going through there, or I can just push redo, and it'll add those blank slides into it. Okay, so now that's pretty much background. You also have the option to add an image here. So if I want to add an image, I come right here, and then I can select an image that I've taken off of my device that I already have. You can use the camera. Okay, this box is going to come up. You need to allow the camera on your Chromebook for this to work. I can go by URL, photos, Google Drive, or I can search for a Google image and I can get a dog. Now here's a tricky little thing right here. If I don't want the background around my dog, I have to put .png. When I do that, that should bring up some images that have a pretty clean background. I'm going to choose this guy, select it, and push insert. And my little dog balloon should come all around, and we should see him. And there he is. So he is now the background of my whole entire, or my slide right there. If I want to change him to be the background of my whole entire theme, I can do that. Now, if I decide I've made a mistake and I don't like that, come up here to push undo, takes him back to just that one slide, or I can push undo again and have all my slides back. What if I just want to add my dog to a slide and I don't want him to be the entire background? Okay, I can do that as well. So background, we're done with that. We've looked at the cool things in background. Let's come up to, I'll go back to that dog in just a second. So we've looked at layout. I know if I push here, I can change the format, the layout of the slide that I'm currently on. If I go to theme, I have my themes already up. Let me turn it off so it looks better. When you push theme, you'll see the themes pop up over here that I just turned off. You can go down and select a different theme, look through them, see which one you like. If you see which one you like, you can click on it, and you can see that it's changing your presentation over here. All of the things that were in that theme changed for you. And if you don't see, so what this looks like this, but this one's white. It's because up here in this drop down arrow, all of the theme pieces are in here. Remember, we selected blank piece of paper to go through all of our pieces. So these are all the options that would come up in that theme. And as I go through the themes, you can see if I select this one and come up here to my drop down, I see all the pieces that are available. So I could be clicking on those and adding those pieces into my slideshow. And you'll see these things come in, and you'll see how each theme could possibly change. If we go to that one, you'll see those options. If we go to this one, you'll see those options. And you can kind of play around with all of your theme options and see what you like. Once again, if I decide I don't want any of these themes, undo until you get back to your cool colors and everything goes back to where you want it. You can push undo as many times as you need to. You can push it a whole bunch of times. Okay, so background, layout, theme. Now let's go to transition. This is where I'm going to want to add my dog. Transitions, when I select my slide number 1, and I know I'm on slide number 1 because I see it highlighted. See, as I go down, the slides highlight. They'll have like a yellow bar around them and they'll highlight. So on slide number 1, I want to come up to transition. In transitions, it's going to affect the way your slide moves when you go into slideshow and present this. So right now, I do not have any slide transitions. If I want to get a slide transition, remember everything cool lives behind these little arrows. Click one of these little arrows and it gives you possibilities for how your slide will move. If I select gallery, it then brings up a speed icon. So can I adjust the speed that it's going to go at? And again, it gives me that opportunity to apply it to just this slide. If I do not select this, this will only affect this slide. If I do select this, it will affect all the slides in my project. So I want it to happen to all my slides. And then if I push play, it's going to give me a preview of how my slides are going to come in. That's okay. I like that a little bit. Oh, if I want to change it, I can come back in here to gallery and I have to push stop, go back into gallery, and I can try cube, see how I like that, push play. It'll give you a preview. And then it's going to go through and show you what you're looking at. So cube, good, apply to all slides. Good. Here comes my cube. I like it. I'm going to keep that. So that is how my slides are going to transition. Now, we talked about our dog. So turn that off. We're going to come in and we're going to put in our dog. We're going to add an image. There's 2 ways you can do that. We can come here to insert and then go to image and then say search the web. Or I can come right here to the image icon and there's one of those cool drop-down arrow menus that we like. And then say search the web. And remember, to get the cool ones that don't have the background, you're going to go dog.png. Okay. And then I'm going to scroll down until I find that little dog that I liked. Here he is. I can select him. Make sure you don't select more than one. What's going to happen is if you select more than one right here, it's going to insert them into your project, but they're stuck together like this and you can't move them around. So you don't want to do that. Just push delete and come back into image and redo it and make sure that you only have one selected. And when you push insert, that one dog will pop in there. Okay, and that's nice and clean. I can see that there's no background around that I don't want to work with. I can resize my dog and put him in here. So I'm going to want to add this dog to every slide. So I'm going to copy my dog with either Command C or you can right click. And then I need to move down to the next slide of my project, Command V or paste. And I'm going to paste that dog into every one of my slides. Okay. So now back up to slide 1. I want to make my dog move. So in order to make my dog move, right now I have to click on him. Once I click on him, you can see this toolbar right here changes. Watch. If I click off, toolbar right here looks like this now. If I click on the image, I get new choices. Here's new choices. So the one that I want to look at today is animate. If I push animate, great. The new animation comes up for my dog. You can see this is the animation that I did for the slide itself. And I still have that here, that if I open this, I could adjust that or edit that if I wanted to. But what I'm going to focus on right now is my dog. So I open up my dog animation choices, and these are the choices that I have for him. He can fly in from the left, all these things. This is what my dog can do. So I'm going to select fly in from the right. And then you have to tell it, when do you want this to happen? Well, I want this to happen on my first click, which is going to be the first time you push the spacebar or click the mouse. So that's fine. My speed is fine, and I'm good with that. So now I don't have to do anything. I can just let that be. I go to my next slide and I push my dog again. See, I don't have an animation. I don't have another animation over here until I select him and I select animate. Okay. So now I have a second time that I can do this, and I want my dog to do something different this time. I'm going to have him fly in from the bottom, but here I need to change this. Do not select on click, because this time I can set that to happen automatically by selecting after previous. That means that this dog is going to move right after this dog moves. So this one's going to move when I tell it to on the click, but this one's just going to go ahead and move all by himself because this one started it. Okay. So after previous, then I'm going to go to this slide. I'm going to click on my dog, animate. He is going to zoom in, and then I want to make sure I do it after previous. Then I go to my next slide, click on my dog. I want to animate him. He is going to, let's see, we'll have him spin after previous. And then I'm going to go to my last slide, click on my dog, animate, and I'm going to have him disappear. He's my last guy. He could disappear, and I want that to happen after previous. So now I have the animation set for each one of these dogs. And as I click through the different windows on the right-hand side, you'll see my animations change because each one of my dogs is doing something different. I can still go on slide 1. I can still take my dog and move him wherever I want him to go. I can go on slide 2 and move my dog wherever he wants to go, and it will not change the animation. The animation stays the same. He will just start from whatever place I'm putting him, and I can move him around to just kind of make this a little more interactive. Great. So I've got my dog moved around. I've got my slide transitions on, and I've got an animation for each one of my images on my slides. So if I come back up to slide number 1 and I go into slideshow, there is my fun background that I've created. My slideshow does not start until I push the space bar. When I push space bar, here comes my dog. Here comes my next slide. There's my dog. He moved all by himself. I didn't have to do anything. I pushed the space bar. Next slide comes in. There's my dog all by himself. I push the space bar. Next dog, moving around. I push the space bar. Last dog is going to disappear. Okay. Then I need to push escape on my keyboard and go back out. Now, since we've kind of created like a fun little cartoon here, it really would be fun to have some of the speech bubbles that lets my dog maybe say some cool things. So I'm going to look at this dog right here, and I see that I've put him right here, and I want to add a speech bubble to him. I'm going to come right here to shapes, and when I click on shapes, I'm going to come down here to where it says callouts, and right down here I have a thought bubble and 3 speech bubbles. So I'm going to choose one of these speech bubbles. Now I have to click and drag to adjust the size of my speech bubble. Okay? But now look, it's doing something weird. So I can try to put my speech bubble here so this is pointing to my dog, but I definitely don't want that to be there. What I can do is come right here and just adjust this point and click it and drag it to where now that is a speech bubble or a speech box it's placed much nicer than where it was before. If I take this now and I double click, whoops, I switched slides. If I take this and I double click inside of it, it will turn into a speech bubble, and I can now type in that. If I want to center it, highlight it, come up here and center it. Okay, now I also have the opportunity to select the animation for this. So I'm going to ask this to animate. Look, here's my new animation. You can see this is for my speech bubble. So what I have the dog flying in from the right on a click. So I want the speech bubble fade in. That's probably good. But I'm going to not choose on click because I want the dog to come first and the speech bubble to come second. So I'm going to choose after previous. And then we can watch what happens. We can test it right here. Here comes my slide. Here comes my dog. Oh, I gotta do it. Here comes my dog. And then my speech bubble comes in by itself. Okay? So you can go through and add a speech bubble to each one of your slides, and your little dog can say some really cool stuff. So come up in here, go to callouts, click and drag it, adjust the pointer, double click inside, type what your dog is going to say. Oops. Go back to slide number 2, highlight it, center it, adjust the animation. I can see this dog is flying in from the bottom, so I will have this fly in from the top, and I want it to go after previous. And then go to slide 3, add a call out, click and drag your speech bubble, adjust the arrow point, double click, highlight, center, animate. He is zooming in, so I will have this zoom out. And don't mind that phone call that I just got. Silent that. We are going to zoom out after previous. Last one here. Callouts. Adjust. Type. Double click. I'm running out of things to say for this dog. This dog is not very creative. Highlight. Center. My last dog's just not going to say anything. Oh, I forgot to animate this one. Animate. This dog is going to spin. I guess I will have him fly out of the top after previous. Great. So I've gone through and made some final adjustments. I'm ready to watch my slideshow. Make sure you're on slide number 1. Click slide number 1. Go to slideshow. And as I press the space bar, there's my dog. There's my text box. There's my slide. There's my dog. There's my text box. There's my slide. Oh, I did not animate that one. We need to go back and fix that. There's my dog. And my last dog's just going to be quiet and go away. Good. This one, I think, is what we had problems with. Let's go back and look at that. Animate. Zoom out after previous. That just looked weird. So let's change this and just have it do something else. Let's play it. There we go. Looks better. Okay. So there's some tools for you and some pretty cool buttons that were always there, but maybe you didn't notice them. And I think that you should use these buttons right here to go out and make some really cool things. So make some fun projects and share them with me. Let me know what you made. I'm excited to see it. Good job. See you. Bye.